It's my great pleasure to welcome to the podium the former Republican Lieutenant Governor of the state of North Dakota, the Honorable Tammy Miller. She has been a highly accomplished business executive, and I think holds the rare and maybe unique and maybe only characteristic of being a lieutenant governor who's also been chief executive officer of a 100% ESOP company, which is extremely interesting, unique, and cool. Her company was a multi-billion-dollar construction, industrial, and utility market supply corporation in the electrical industry located in Fargo, North Dakota. We've had many conversations with Tammy, who really knows what she's talking about and is a serious former government official. So Tammy, welcome. We look forward to learning from you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you talking about one subject that I am super passionate about, and that is employee ownership. And I do want to thank the Aspen Institute and Rutgers for hosting this event. North Dakota is a small state. Our overall population is under 800,000. Yet we are home to 63 ESOP companies and 30,684 individuals who participate in employee-owned companies. So that's a pretty good ratio. We are also home to two of the largest majority-owned, employee-owned companies, according to the NCEO Top 100 list, and that is Shields All Sports and Border States. In fact, those two companies are on the top 50 list, but the list is the top 100. So having spent the last 4 years of my life in the government sector, I know there is so much more we need to do to make employee ownership the first choice. How can we increase awareness, create more incentives, and offer more support? I'm very pleased to say that on March 24th of 25, just a couple weeks ago, in North Dakota, House Bill 1156 was signed into law, giving CPA firms the opportunity to have ESOP ownership. This is pretty exciting because, number one, I think CPAs as trusted advisors are well positioned to promote employee ownership with their clients, with their own firms, and with policymakers. And I am a little selfish there because I started my career in public accounting, and I still maintain a CPA license. I really believe CPAs are trusted advisors and can do more in this space. I was excited to see the Journal of Accountancy come out in April online. The cover story, ESOPs, not a fable. And there were two articles. One was why firms are choosing employee ownership plans. And the second one was what to know when your clients are considering employee ownership. The second article finished with a quote from an individual who recently sold his independent research firm to his employees. And he said, "For me, the greatest benefit was the fact that people who had worked as employees became owners and took on the responsibility. I didn't expect it to be so different. The sense of ownership really affected everybody." I wish every industry and professional association would work more to help their members be more aware of the benefits of employee ownership. So while I most recently served as the 39th Lieutenant Governor of the great state of North Dakota, I spent most of my adult life working at an employee-owned company, 29 years. And I spent 14 years as the CEO. So that company is Border States, one of the largest employee-owned companies in the country, and 100% ESOP owned. So today, the company does $4.5 billion in annual sales, is still headquartered in the great state of North Dakota, has over 3,500 employee owners, operates in 29 states, and has 130 branch locations. As you heard, Border States is a wholesaler of electrical supplies and equipment to utilities, so electric and gas utilities, to the construction market, residential and commercial, and to industrials who might be using the products for the original equipment they're manufacturing, to automate their plant, or just general repair and maintenance. So Border States has been an ESOP for over 40 years, but not 100% employee-owned. We didn't become 100% until the tax laws changed. We put together a white paper, convinced the board to convert to an S-Corp and become 100% ESOP-owned in 2000. In 2006, I became the CEO and held that position as CEO and board chair for 14 years. During that time, we grew from $485 million in annual sales to $2.5 billion in 14 years. Our stock value grew from $161 a share to over $1,800 a share. Employee ownership powered and continues to power the growth and success of Border States. And fundamental to the ownership culture, you've heard some of these things today, are transparency, education, empowerment, and accountability. This culture produces responsible behavior, which results in, as you heard earlier today, the trifecta. Employee owners amassing more personal wealth than they ever dreamed possible. Company financial performance that exceeds industry benchmarks. And employees understanding their duty to give back to the communities where they live and work. So let's dive just a little bit deeper into each of those three items in the trifecta. Starting with employee owner wealth creation. At Border States, we really use the ESOP to drive culture, performance, and employee owner wealth. Every employee owner was expected to own it, to make decisions, find solutions at the lowest possible level in the organization, to take care of customers, their fellow employee owners, and their communities. And employees were empowered with information and education, coupled with clear levels of authority. Border States is extremely transparent, sharing all information except information covered by an NDA or confidentiality agreement and individual compensation. Additionally, the strategic plan is communicated to every single employee owner, and every employee owner can see how their role supports the strategy of the company. We do that by cascading goals in their annual reviews and goal-setting process, goals that are linked to the strategic plan. And we have often and frequent communication. The company had a very and continues to have a very defined communication strategy to support the strategic plan. Every month, the leaders of the company make a video. Those videos are shared with the employee owners at their monthly owner meetings at their individual branch. They see a video about the company performance, they get a PowerPoint package with their business unit performance, they get information about the strategic plan and other strategic objectives, and they get financial education. You heard about financial literacy being so important. Imagine as an employee getting ready for work every day and going to work for the company you own, knowing you have a stake in the game, knowing you are empowered with transparent information, clear levels of authority, and frequent education, knowing you are responsible to take care of customers, your fellow employee owners, and the community, and knowing you will be rewarded for your good work with wealth creation in the ESOP and cash bonuses. This is the American dream, and this is what it's like working at Border States every day. And this is what it's like working at many of the other employee-owned companies across the United States. This ownership model is a powerful motivator that drives performance, engagement, retention, and recruitment. During my 14 years as CEO, we created 257 millionaires. And these were not all managers. These were truck drivers, warehouse associates, inside salespeople. We had one employee owner who worked in the warehouse and at the city desk, so at the counter. Certainly wasn't making six figures. He retired with lots of retirement income security. He had over $2 million in his ESOP account. I find myself often comparing border states' ESOP to other benefit plans. My sister, who passed away just 3 weeks ago from a long battle of colon cancer, she worked in state government, not in North Dakota, as a legal secretary and had 30 years working in state government. She wasn't retired, she was on sick leave when she passed away. Her two sons, she doesn't have minor children and she doesn't have a surviving spouse, so her two sons will only inherit what she contributed to the pension over those 30 years, plus interest, about $100,000. So I calculated if she would have worked at border states those 30 years, I know exactly what the ESOP contributions were. Over 30 years, they averaged 13% of eligible compensation. Stock value grew on average 17%. If she would have passed away having 30 years with border states, her sons would have inherited $3.4 million. So we know how powerful ESOPs are in creating individual wealth for the employee owner and their family, and also for creating that retirement income security. So now let's just talk a little bit about company performance. We saw the ESOP having a positive impact on company performance at border states. And the data shows, we heard some of it today, that ESOP companies outperform their industry peers when it comes to growth, profitability, and just performance of the employees. Employee ownership really did drive the growth at border states. When we looked at sales, we often had rank and file employee owners in sales meetings with potential customers or existing customers where we were trying to grow the business. And our customers would say, you know, after a tour with our employee owners, we don't know what it is, but we can feel it. We can see it. It's something different, and we really like it. We wish we could take this secret sauce and bottle it up and take it back to our own facilities. And as we heard today, we know what it is. It's pride in ownership that drives that responsible behavior. The ESOP was also really helpful when we were looking at M&A. Half of our growth has been M&A. Talk about that silver tsunami. A lot of baby boomers who are getting ready to retire looked at the border states model and said, that's a lot like us. They take care of employees. They give back to the community. And we were very successful in acquiring a lot of companies because of the ESOP. We know it's a great succession plan. And employee ownership also drove productivity and profitability, driving our stock value that would consistently outperform market benchmarks. And then we've heard too about community impact. Employee owners really understand their duty to give back. At border states, employee owners receive 16 hours of paid time off every year to volunteer at the charities of their choice, and border states also has a foundation to fund a lot of good projects in the communities where they live and work. And I'm very proud to say, too, border states and their employee owners have built many houses for Habitat for Humanity. So we often hear these high-level statistics about how great ESOPs are. I hope a few of the stories that I shared made some of these statistics real. Employee ownership is an amazing and powerful ownership model. It can be an ideal succession plan for this coming silver tsunami. And we know that American-owned is a great option. And American-owned in an ESOP for creating wealth for all employee owners. It drives performance and outpaces market benchmarks and is good for local communities. I challenge everyone here to do more. Do all that you can to increase the awareness. Share your stories, create more incentives, and provide support so more employees can live the American dream, to work for the company they own, and to share in the wealth that they created. Thank you.